Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to get you styled up with Stitch Fix. Shopping's hard. It's hard. With Stitch Fix, you get a stylist, though, who understands your style, your size, your budget, and they do all the shopping for you.
Wow.
This is excellent. Shopping, I'm telling you, shopping and figure out your style, it's overwhelming. Let somebody help you when it comes to getting dressed. We don't know what we're doing, so we let Stitch Fix help us out. A Stitch Fix stylist there. They know what works on us. We get the prices that make us look really good, and it feels good. You get some confidence boost walking around knowing that you're looking decent here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we just give the stylist our sizes, style, budget preferences. We order boxes when we want, how we want, no subscription or any of that required. And they send called Just For Me pieces as well. Like, maybe you'd like this, and it's awesome. Outfit recommendations, styling tips. You keep what you love, you send back the rest. It's super easy.
Yep.
You can do it, and we are doing it because it's excellent. Personal styling for everyone. Get started today at stitchfix.com/STM. That's stitchfix.com/STM.
Now back to the show.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you about Noom. Has Noom helped you? I believe it has.
Oh, that's got an app. You can do tracking. It's terrific.
It does. And Noom builds personal plans that can meet individual needs. That's the thing. Takes into account any dietary restrictions, medical issues, other personal needs. That helps build a plan that works for you. And yes, so I know that you've had your own personalized program here that you've been working on. And
it's weight loss This is weight loss results that last. They stick around because you get yourself into a lifestyle change. That's what matters.
That's mainly it. You can't just say, I'm going to cut that out for a month and then go back to it. That's not what it is. So I'm glad it's helping you. That's great. And it really does. I like the psychology and biology-based approach here. Yeah. Noom Weight uses psychology. That's why they say losing weight starts with your brain, but it also takes into account your unique biological factors, Jimmy. All of your multitude flora and fauna that goes on inside of you there.
Sure. Yeah.
Stay focused on what's important to you with Noom's psychology and biology-based approach. Sign up for your trial today at Noom.com, Noom.com here. Based on 3.5-year study of actively engaged Noom users with minimum starting BMI of 25. Individual results may vary. Visit our website for more information.
Welch's can't make everything make sense. Like why your mom still listens to the radio or what she meant when she sent that emoji. But a zero-sugar drink that's still full of fruit flavor, we made that make sense. And strawberry, passion fruit, Concord grape, and more. You gotta sip it to get it. New Welch's Zero Sugar. Let's fruit stuff up.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Small Town Murder Express.
Yay, choo-choo!
Oh, yay indeed, Jimmy, yay indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmie Whisman.
Thank you, folks, for joining us, and all aboard the murder train, everybody.
Hell yeah.
Pulling away from the station. Let's do this. We have just an insane episode. This guy is one of the craziest, weirdest... And it's like a landmark case. It's weird stuff.
Oh,
we'll get to it
love that.
very quickly. Very quickly before that, though, thank you for everything. ShutUpAndGiveMeMurder.com is the website. Get your tickets right now.
Hell yeah.
The Pabst in Milwaukee, September 10th, and then also September...
Oh, it's so close.
So close. Yeah. September 23rd in Tampa, Florida, Tampa Improv. 2 shows that night. Next night, the 24th, in Orlando. 2 shows at the Orlando Improv. So
you bet.
Get your tickets right now. Patreon.com/Crime and Sports is where you get all of your bonus stuff.
Yeah?
We got lots of bonus stuff there. Anybody $5 or above, you're going to get everything we put out, Jimmy.
Really?
They're going to get crime and sports stuff? Yes, they are.
I don't know.
They
Tell
are.
me more.
Yes, they are. Small Town, you do know. Small Town Murder. You're going to get that. This week, what you're going to get, we're going to finish off the Sex Scandals Crime and Sports episode there.
Yeah.
Sex Scandals Part 2.
Boy, is it good.
Where a young lady made it her college thesis to have sex with lots of athletes from Duke University and describe them in great detail. Yeah. And then some other stuff, too. A soccer player who had an affair with his sister-in-law in public. It's very weird. Very weird stuff. Then for Small Town Murder, we're going to talk about the Zodiac Killer documentary, the new one that's out on Netflix, about the guy who thinks his long-lost father is the Zodiac Killer and writes a book and has all this proof, and it all amounts to a pile of horse shit. It's ridiculous. So we'll talk about this whole thing and how it looked great for a while, and then we'll also talk about the current crop of who we think it is now, because it changes over the years. So we'll do all of that. Check all of that out and more, the whole back catalog and everything. And you get a shout out at the end of the regular show. Patreon.com/crime and sports. All right. Let's get into this, Jimmy. All right, let's do this. I think it's time to sit back. What do you say, Jimmy? I think it's time to clear the lungs a little bit. That's right. And we'll shout, Shut up and give me murder. Let's do this, Jimmy.
All right.
Let's go on a trip, shall we?
We shall.
We shall. We're going to Delaware this week, which something you don't hear very often. How many times have you been talking to someone and they're like, we're going to Delaware this week?
Yeah.
I don't think it's ever happened. So, I don't know. No, Delaware is not a destination, we'll say, for things. All I know is that a lot of things are incorporated there. That's it. So
I know nothing else.
That's it. This is Cheswold, Delaware, Cheswold, Cheswold. Okay. And I'm pretty sure that's how it's pronounced because they tell you why it's called that, so it makes sense. Delaware's a big panhandle. This one's right in the middle of it. It's just kind of a straight up and down state. The population here is about 1,673, so it's a small town. Small town's kind of surrounded by other small towns. Median income, $60,375, so a little above the national average, but not too high. Median home price low, though. It's only $189,500. So
for the East Coast, that's very cheap.
It's very cheap. And you can get to water for within a half hour, which is also pretty cool. Not too shabby. Quickly on the history here, it was named. At first, it was called Moorton. Moorton. I love finding out why towns are named.
Double R?
Double O. Moo, like Moorton.
They said, got it.
Yeah, okay. I might have said it wrong. Moorton, after the guy who owned a lot of the land here named James F. Moore, or James S. Moore. So they just said Moorton. Yeah. That's it. And then
Moortown, but
and then it was also known as Leipsic Station after the rail.
I hate that.
Leipsic. That's a name that, like, on the shout outs you would have trouble pronouncing. That's what that is.
Leip? I don't know.
Leipzig, I don't know. Thank you. Leipsic Station.
No, not going to happen.
Then, you know how this town finally got its name of Cheswold? You know how they came up with that? It's not some guy's last name or some shit like that. This was a contest. What? They had a contest in 1888 to rename the town, and that's what they picked.
That's the winner?
Cheswold. They picked that, which is a combination of chess from a large group of chestnut trees, and wold, which stands for forest of trees. So we have chestnut trees is what they're trying to tell us by this. Apparently.
That's horrible.
That's not a great name. The town was home. The reasons why. All these towns, at least it's not just named after something in England, which we get a lot too. Yeah. So the home here, this was the home of the Cheswold Tigers, who were a minor league baseball team from 1950 to 1960. It was actually a good team. So,
really?
Yeah, there's so many minor league teams back then. Reviews of this town very quickly because they're all very short and succinct. These people get right to the point in Delaware.
That's good.
Delaware, right to the point. That's their motto here.
Don't get any time to fuck around.
No time to fart around. We're too close to the water here. 4 stars. Weather is pretty comfortable. Our 4 seasons are great.
All 4.
All 4. Thanks a lot there. 3 stars. Delaware isn't that great, to be honest. Well, that's
okay.
I love leveling with us on the opener there. That's great.
To be honest,
Firefly and NASCAR are probably the most exciting events in this state.
Firefly. Is that a music festival?
Yeah, Firefly is a music festival, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2 stars, a boring hometown to grow up in that consists of about 3 neighborhoods, a few small stores, and a police force of 3 officers.
3 guys.
3 guys. We really put them to the test in this murder, by the way. We'll put it that way.
Okay.
1 star, restaurants are terrible. The ones here or just in general? I don't like eating out. Nothing new or exciting. That's what their review. So apparently they mean here.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure there's new restaurants other places. You just have to leave Cheswold, Delaware, probably.
Get the fuck out, guys.
And here's somewhere to eat here on Things to Do. The Delaware Burger Battle. They're really happy about this, where they get, apparently, Delaware's most competitive chefs gather, and they make burgers. They serve over 24,000 burgers this weekend.
Wow.
It's all for charity. 55 competing restaurants, all trying to get their best burger out there for people. And
24,000?
24, that's a lot of burgers, man.
That's so many burgers.
The 7,300 guests, 24,000 burgers. They're eating 3 burgers a pop. What about the kids?
3.5 a piece? That's a lot of burgers.
There's some kids walking around going, oh, Dad, my stomach hurts. Mom, help. Not working here. So it's your ticket. With your ticket, you get adult beverages and soft drinks. That's nice.
Okay.
No pets, please, though. No pets. Fire.
It's nice they said please.
Please. Fire, meat, and animals don't always mix. That's fair.
Wow. Unless it's a cow.
Your dog is going to. That's true. There's a lot of animal here. Your dog is going to jump into the fucking grill to get a burger off of it.
That's probably what happened. Some German Shepherd got half his face burned off getting a medium rare.
Yeah, we were like, shit, who's got a rotisserie? This is terrible. This isn't good.
Grind them up, we'll make another burger.
Oh, no, this is bad. This Burger Fest took a dark, dark turn. Sparky was adorable. So, yeah, each of the restaurants are going to pick one and their best burger to put forward. Your votes will determine the People's Choice winner. Our esteemed panel of judges. It's a burger.
I mean, what is it? Just a bunch of dudes that like burgers?
Well, like how many people in the United States would be qualified to judge hamburgers? A lot.
Everybody.
Everybody's had a million of them in their life. So everybody. They'll pick the Critics' Choice winner and select the best alternative burger.
What is it?
Plant-based or something non-meat-based or I don't know. Then everybody gather around for Oktoberfest. Toy show.
Yes. No!
I wanted Jimmie.
Beer and nutcrackers?
I saw Jimmie's eyes fill with beer steins and pretzels and sausages, and then I dashed his hopes away with Toy Show. Gone.
A stein of beer and a fucking strawberry shortcake?
It has nothing to do with Oktoberfest traditionally, with food and beer and that sort of thing. It's just a toy show in October.
What is that?
You got a lot of balls. You're having people showing up expecting to get hammered and play with toys, and they're like, wait a second, you want me to buy a G.I. Joe from 1973? For how much? This is crazy. I pre-gamed, by the way. I'm hammered.
I tailgated this shit.
Delaware, woo! Just Toy Fest, yeah! So either way, $5 or children of under the age of 12 are free. So there's that, and the toy show. Anyway, you can call for additional information. Call 856-302-3606.
Just tell them to stop this.
Find out. How much beer do you have there? That said, let's talk about a horrible murder. What do you say?
Okay.
Let's do it. Let's go back in time, Jimmie, to 1979. All right.
It's a nice time.
Here we go. It's an interesting time. A good murder time, though. We've said the late 70s is your your prime sweet spot for murder. We're going to talk about a guy here, a young man at the time. Well, not too young, but he's 30 in his 35 or 34 at this point. Billy Bailey. Now, Billy Bailey, by the way, it's spelled different in different places. And I'm going to go with court documents because they're probably the most accurate on his legal name, I would say, rather than media accounts. In the court documents, his name is Billie. Everywhere else, it's with a Y. But I'm going to go with the IE on the court documents.
I'll bet it is.
That's probably right. Yeah. They like to, as you know, from your name, rednecks like to put that IE on the end of it. It kind of cuts it off of no other nicknames.
I don't understand what that is. I don't know why we do that.
I don't know. I know you, that's your name, so I figured.
And it makes me
Jimmie.
Insane.
Yeah, I know it drives you nuts because it's just a way to have it misspelled all the time.
Yeah, but, it's cool that Jimmie J.J. Walker spelled it this way, too. That's pretty fucking rad.
It's
but
unique, though.
That poor bastard went through the same shit I'm going through.
They said, no, not why. So, and I'm not James either, or this guy.
No, I'm not. You can call me Jim if you want.
I say maybe this means he's not William. His name is probably Billy on the birth certificate. So
I bet you're right.
Billy Bailey, he is born 1945. He is one of the 19th of 23 children.
Holy
Yeah.
What?
19th of 23 children, born in South Carolina, raised there.
How's that even possible? The math doesn't add up.
Because it's the same father with 4 different women.
Now it adds up.
The women leave and the father just keeps the kids. That's how this works. Like he's just got he brings in a new woman to pump out 7, 8 kids and then kick her out and keep the kids. So, one dies anyway. Here we go. So he's got a 6th grade education. He's the 19th of 23. His father his mother, who was his father's 3rd wife, died 6 months after he was born. So that's not good. He was 6 months old.
Not during childbirth,
no.
obviously.
No. 6 months later. Took a long time. It lingered.
6 months of labor.
Man, he took out half her organs, and it's a tough thing. So Billy lived with his father. And when he was a little kid, he lives with his father, his new stepmother, and 7 brothers and sisters that were still around in a 2-room shack with no plumbing. No plumbing.
Oh, God.
Imagine having 8 children and 2 adults in a 2-room house with no plumbing. Think about that. That is.
How is he?
And this
is this man?
This is in the 50s and 60s. This isn't in 1911. This is,
God.
Everyone else had plumbing at this point. That was
what a terrible way to live, man. And the dad has done this for years and years and years. So this is just normal for him.
Oh yeah, this is what he does. And then wives come in and out. He knocks them up a whole bunch of times, and then stacks his kids up in the corner of the other room and tells them to go shit outside. It's horrible. Court records from the back in the day here, when all this was going on, when he was a child, describe the living conditions by some agency that came, quote, utter filth and poverty.
No.
Utter filth and poverty. Yeah. Holy shit.
Utter pretty much means there's irredeemable, right?
It's just, it's a shit.
Condemnable.
Yeah, he might just shithole. That's what he might have said. This place is a fucking dump. This is what we're getting at. Utter filth and poverty. His father ends up dying when he's 10 years old. So now he's left with his stepmother and all these other kids.
Wow.
Stepmother just basically rid herself of these children who weren't hers and had them all put in foster care and all that kind of shit, which back then wasn't, now it's not terrific, but back then it was just half of them were like, Little Orphan Annie style and shit. There's a building where a bunch of kids nobody lives, and they all just stay in there, and nuns yell at them. That's how it works. So Billy and his 12-year-old brother Sam, so they were 10 and 12, they get kind of, shucked off to somewhere here, shunted off to an orphanage or something. By the time they were 10 and 12 and they got taken out of their house, they were already, quote, heavy drinkers. So that's nice at 10.
Well.
I mean, with this life, who cares? It can only improve it. Anything you do can only improve what's going on here. Utter filth and poverty. What hope is there here at this point? So, they came to live in Wilmington, Delaware, from South Carolina. From there, he has a half brother with a wife and 2 children, and that's who took him in. One of his dad's older kids who felt bad for him, basically.
20 kids ago.
20 kids ago, yeah, but it didn't work out real well for Billy here and Sam. No. They had a place to live, which is nice, hopefully plumbing, which is helpful. That must have been a step in the right direction, except that Billy, quote, remembers, quote, getting beat a lot, blood running down my neck, both me and Sam. So,
front or back? Jesus Christ.
From their head. That's what that is.
Oh, my God.
Smashed in the back of the head. Basically, they said beatings were administered for if the house wasn't up to snuff, cleanliness, any sort of disobedience. They were always hungry, so they would steal food from around the neighborhood because they basically didn't get fed. So if they got caught stealing, then they get an ass kicking for that. They really
basic life needs, and they don't have it.
Yeah, he's got plumbing, I think, but no food. So he traded in plumbing for food. So, or the other way around. After 2 years, the half-brother just said, forget about this, I'm done. And he ends up putting them at the Governor Bacon Health Center in Delaware City.
What the hell is that?
That is exactly what it sounds like. It's
Government YMCA?
It sounds like a big gray building that you need a pass to leave, is what it sounds like. You need like a...
Sounds, and also, the door goes, a health center, we're just keeping you alive.
That's what the door goes before you open it. Somebody has to hit a button and it goes, and then you can open it. Before that, you can't leave.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like. So a psychiatrist at the time described Billy as a, quote, rather small-looking 12-year-old youngster with a shock of blonde hair and a rather pleasant face, extremely retarded academically, too disturbed a child to consider foster home placement.
What?
So that we're just going to house him because, and try to talk to him with psychiatrists because he's too fucked. We can't give him away. He's like a dog that bites at the pound, like at the Humane Society. They're like, we have to we have to recondition or whatever the hell they do. Like,
reacclimate him to everything. Really, initially acclimate because it's never been acclimated.
Yeah, we've never had a combination of plumbing and food to where this kid can have any sort of structure. You know what I mean? That's a good combination. But let's see if he shits in the house and eats what happens. Maybe that'll be a change. But yeah, this is...
We'll keep him animated and food inside him, so that's enough.
This is rough, man. So, yeah, he was there. This was the time, though, where they said he actually had a chance. This is the only time in his life where he actually had a chance. But essentially, they treat him like someone goes, "Oh, that puppy's cute," and they go, "No, he just bit 3 kids in the face, and that's why he's here." You know.
And a chance is boy, is that a generous phrase? Because this is barely a chance. Jesus.
Yeah. Later on, he'll say, "Quote: When I asked for help with my epileptic seizures, the counselor said they were just temper tantrums."
Oh my God!
This is like 1958, also, mind you. So they were just like, "You're fine."
Kid on the ground shaking, eyes rolled back in his head, with tongue dripping out, foaming at the mouth. Calm down, pussy.
Cut it out. God damn it. I'll give you something to shake about. I'll give you something to shake and thrash about. That's right. Think
What's
you're shaking and thrashing now.
Quit your attitude.
Oh, my God. He also says, quote, I would have gotten help if I could. I didn't know how. They'd throw you in a cell and leave you there, even at bacon. They'd feed you some yellow, gunky-looking stuff, some medicine, then forget about you.
We don't even know what the food is called.
Just a paste that makes you go sleep, I think is what that is. And not
yellow gunky stuff that stops the growls.
Yeah, that makes you a lot easier to deal with probably here. Now, mind you also, these quotes are from his later life, so they're very self-serving also.
Sure.
But the psychiatrist quotes also kind of line up with all this as well, where he's got problems. But the problems he has also kind of might skew his view of what's happening too at this point because he's got a lot of problems. He's a hard drinking 12-year-old at this point, so it's difficult to get your surroundings straight. So he ends up turning into, when he grows up here, he grows only 5'5" is his top height is where he gets to.
Take it easy.
5'5", 220. He's
not bad.
A stout guy.
Whoa.
He's a muscular 5'5", 220 though. He looks like he's heavy set obviously, but he's powerful looking. He looks real powerful. He looks like he could, pick you up and from the waist and carry you around. Hey, how's it going? He looks
like
strong.
a guy that'll change your water pump in a second.
Yeah, he looks like a 19th century tough Irish guy. That's what I guess. Like that. Hey, what are you doing there, buddy? And walking up with the chest stuck out. So he first becomes involved with the police around 21 years old in 1967. He's arrested for disorderly conduct, which sounds like he maybe was cutting up in the street. 21,
you know, the guy's got enough to be pissed off about. Don't needle the guy. He's probably got a little bit of an attitude. I'm shocked that it took him 21 years.
No shit. Well, apparently he was running around the main streets of Dover, which is the capital of Delaware, just with a rifle, just running down the middle of the street. So cars had to avoid him. He's got a rifle. So they were like, "Hey, that's very disorderly."
That you're mad, but let's not bring the gun.
That is disorderly. Actually, I agree with that. That's super disorderly. Holy shit.
They tagged that crime right.
With your nice job, everybody.
Where do we file this? Under that.
That's pretty disorderly, huh? Well, thank you. That's the charge.
So.
He was later arrested on a charge of grand larceny in connection with a theft at a Dover restaurant. That's
okay. Now it's
in 67 and 68. He's arrested for burglarizing a home in Dover. So now you're stepping up to a home. That's a private home. 1970. He's such a hot property. Who can resist him? He marries a 19-year-old named Susan Hughes.
Oh, Susan, what have you been through?
Wow, this didn't work out well though.
No,
they were living in a trailer. And things were, they had a 3-month-old daughter named Christine. So, I mean,
he has a child.
This man has a child, yeah. Living in a mobile home, I think, with plumbing. So that's helpful. Yeah. And problem is a fire started one night while they were all asleep. And he rescued their 3-month-old daughter, Christine, from the fire.
Oh, my God.
But her hand was so burned that all of her fingers and her left hand had to be amputated.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's not, Jesus, poor kid, a baby.
She just got a paddle. Oh,
a 3-month-old
poor thing.
Yeah, a 3-month-old. That's tough.
When all the digits are gone, that thing's scary.
It's tough for you. How do you operate? I mean, a lot of people have different things like that, but that's just hard. At least as a 3-month-old, I guess you can.
Yeah, that's normal for her.
As she gets older, that'll whatever. But still, it's hard for her. That's got to be tough. Either way, especially from being burned. It's not like she got cut off in a farming accident or something.
Having your fingers burned off is crazy.
That's horrible. So then he said his marriage fell apart after that.
I can't imagine.
Because he said that his in-laws, this is what he said, quote, "My in-laws put the bad mouth on me. Took away my wife and daughter. Put the bad mouth on me." I've never heard that.
It sounds filthy.
It sounds like, that sounds.
I get his.
Why don't you come over here and put that bad mouth on me? That sounds like a come on. But
both my in-laws put that bad mouth on me.
Put the bad mouth on me. I mean, my mother-in-law, she's all right, but my father-in-law, he's a goddamn virtuoso. Let me tell you something.
He's great back there.
He plays his tongue like a symphony. So
real good on the dirt tuba. Know what I mean?
You know what I'm saying, buddy. So they put the bad mouth on him. Took away his wife and daughter. So that's he doesn't see once his daughter's 9, he doesn't see her again pretty much forever after that.
Yeah.
He also has a son as well that he at some point fathered before the marriage. He was like 19. He had a son that he was never around for. And this is crazy. The only person he was close to was his brother Sam, who he went through all this shit with. Right. And he said they were close, quote, like brothers ought to be.
Yep, Thunder Buddies.
That's what he said. But he said Sam came to an unfortunate demise as well. This is the way he puts it. I don't know the medical. I doubt this was in the coroner's report or the medical report here. Quote, "One day he drank himself a pint of whiskey straight down and his heart just blew up." I don't
think that happened.
One pint went down, boom, heart exploded. That's apparently his medical diagnosis. Judging from his statements so far, he hasn't been to medical school, I don't think. That's just my thought. I'm not positive, but I don't think he's
what an understatement of a diagnosis of death.
Yellow, gunky food and straight down. He's very he has no specifics, this guy, at all.
Kind of whiskey? What kind of whiskey is that?
That's some rot gut right there, I guess. If it actually,
that's some strong shit.
His heart blew up. Damn. So, in 1974, he's arrested again on a charge of stealing $1,500 worth of tools from a Dover industrial plant, and he's sentenced to, you, sir, may fuck off 5 years in prison for that.
Okay.
He's paroled in 77. But he's then arrested again for violating parole in 79. And he is also charged with forgery, and he's given an additional, 18 months in jail. So that's how this is going for him. It's not going well.
He's going to be bouncing in and out, making kids, and creating just a shit wake of horrible things in his past.
Absolutely. One of the officials in his work release program that he was on at one point said, quote, he was known to have had drinking and emotional problems, but there he was, out on work release, living with his brother-in-law down near Cheswold on a revolving 72-hour furlough work basis. So he has to leave, and then he has to come back every 72 hours.
Right.
To show them, like, hey, I didn't run away again. Look at me.
I'm still working.
Still here.
Don't worry.
Still here. So one corrections officer that knew him said that he basically should have always just been in prison. It was where he was most comfortable, and it's the only place where he's not an asshole.
Right.
He says in the prison, he's a model prisoner, a superb prisoner, but he just cannot handle the street. He has no life skills whatsoever. So if everything's done for you and you're told when to shower and when to eat and when to go to sleep, then you're okay. But if this guy has any autonomy or agency in whatever he does, he's not going to get it right at all. So it's not good. He threatened to kill his wife. He also threatened to kill his daughter, his mother-in-law, and father-in-law.
Yeah.
His wife left him and took off because she stuck around through all of this, by the way. They don't wait till you hear how long they're married for. It's insane. They're married till 1989, these people. Wait till you hear what she goes through. So
what an angel.
Yeah, in 79 his wife takes off. He threatened to kill everybody, and this is one of his one of the corrections officer said about him that he's been an alcoholic for a, quote, very, very, very long time. And he is a man with a very, very violent, quick temper. So that's 5 verys in 2 sentences.
In 2 descriptions about the man.
2 descriptions. He said if he wanted something and if he wasn't going to get it right away, he'd explode. When he gets drunk, he starts crying. On several occasions at Delaware State Hospital, he was just blubbering. So he said he knows of at least one instance recently where Billy tried to commit suicide by slashing his wrists in prison after he was removed from his work release program because he came back shit-hammered drunk.
Right.
So he's a mess, let's just say.
Yeah, and at this time in our society, it's just be an adult and do your things, and everybody's the same. But the problem is, guys like him come from where they come from. He's not the fucking same.
No, he's not the same as everybody else at all. There's something dark over him. He's got a shadow like Will from Stranger Things. Like he feels a tingle in the back of his neck. He's got problems, and he's a mess. He needs to threaten murder and drink when that happens.
I feel guilty right now about having any sort of depression.
I know, right? Yeah. You think about your childhood, as bad as it was. Everyone out there, I mean, honestly, how many of us can match that resume? It's not great.
No.
I mean, some, I'm sure, but that's no plumbing trailer dad with the mom dying and 19 out of 23. That whole story is harrowing. So
he overcomes this. He's the fucking high-paid speech guy.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, he's going to be a motivational
speaker. Yeah.
Let's find out if he overcomes this or not. What do you say?
Let's do it.
Where are you putting your bets at this point? So he goes to he's on work release. This seems like a great guy to put out there. So they said apparently the forgery charge didn't go through the computer, so he shouldn't have been out on work release because he got a parole violation, which is fine. You can still work release him on that, but the extra forgery charge just was floating out somewhere in computer land in the late 70s. So so they at one point they wanted to get him out of the work release program because it finally popped up. One of the officials said, "We guess it must have popped up in the computer somehow." It didn't pull it out of the air. Someone had to have put it in there. It's a computer. It doesn't get to its own thing.
An error window popped up, said, "Not this guy."
404. You're like, what the fuck? So we yanked him back to the Plumber Center on Friday for the weekend. So that was what they said. So. Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about the safest sponsor ever, Simply Safe. Absolutely. These people will keep you safe. It's amazing. You know that every 26 seconds a burglary takes place in the United States, according to the FBI. That means that by the time this podcast is over, dozens and dozens of homes will have been targeted, ransacked. God knows what happens here. So protect your home before it's too late with Simply Safe. proactive security system. Simply Safe helps stop threats before they even have a chance to break in. Named Best Home Security System by U.S. News & World Report 5 years in a row. And by us for about the last 8 years as well. If you trust us, believe me, you want Simply Safe. So visit simplysafe.com/small to claim 50% off a new system with professional monitoring plan and your first month free. That's simplysafe.com/small. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Now back to the show.
This show, Small Town Murder, is brought to you by BetterHelp. Get yourself some therapy, everybody. Honestly, here. We often hear about, red flags that you should avoid. Hey, that's a lot of a thing. It's become a real phrase now, real cliche. Yeah. But why don't you focus also, you look at like green flags in friends and partners. Look for good things as well. Right. And maybe you're not sure what that looks like, though. Therapy can help you figure that out. What are positive things? What are the green flags? And then you can practice them in your relationship. It's absolutely a fact. And so, honestly, we absolutely are huge advocates for this. It really, really helps. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy affordable. It's convenient. They serve over 5 million people worldwide. You can access a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists, wide ranges of specialties there. Here's the coolest part. You're not getting along with your therapist, you're just not feeling it, you can switch at any time, no extra charge.
Wow.
The thing is, they want you to get help. That's it. And you can do it with BetterHelp. Discover your relationship green flags with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/smalltownmurder today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
He would have been free completely in 3 months if it wasn't for the forgery thing. So he ends up back in work release. So there he goes. He's in work release at this plumber place, and he has a job lined up with his brother-in-law, Charles Coker, who is a livestock. He sells livestock, apparently.
Okay.
Livestock broker or some shit like that. So he's supposed to live there while he's working, and then every 72 hours he has to go back. Okay?
Yeah.
May 21st, 1979. He doesn't come back. He's supposed to be back and doesn't. Okay, he takes off from the plumber house, and they notice he's gone at 1 p.m., and he's supposed to be there. So he pops up at the home of his sister, Sue Ann Coker. And it's his foster sister, but he considers her his sister. So and they help him. Like I said, he lives with them, and her husband gives him a job. So he said that he showed up. He was distraught. Clearly there was something up here. He's got a bottle of vodka in his hand, but he doesn't appear to be drunk at this point, she said. So,
Not yet, yeah.
No, he's got the bottle, though. He's prepared.
Ready to party.
To party. He showed up and said that he's not going back to the state work release program. He's tired of it, and he's not going back, and he's pissed off. So then her husband, Charles Coker, he comes in, and they live in like a trailer on the edge of town, too. He got out there somehow. And Charles says, well, why don't you come with me? I'm going to go pick up the kid at school. So you come with me and we'll have a little ride and we'll calm down. So Charles thinks he can calm him down. On the way to pick the kid up, he says, Billy asks Charles, hey, will you stop at the store so I can get another bottle of booze? He's got a bottle of vodka. And he's like, this won't last me all night.
I'm going to need more than this.
I'm going to need another bottle. So rather than Charles going, but we have to pick the kid up maybe on the way back and then try to distract him, Charles goes, no problem, and pulls on into the liquor store.
Oh, boy.
Now, inside the liquor store is Reba Lovegrove. She's the woman behind the counter, and she's the clerk. He came up. He put down a bottle of liquor that cost $3.35. Must be a high-class bottle there. That's some single malt fucking scotch there.
What, are you trying to explode your heart?
Wow, that's the shit that'll blow your heart up. It costs $3.35 a bottle.
Yeah.
He put down a $5 bill, and he asked for the bottle, which is behind the counter, one of the small bottles. She made change, and as she's making change, looks down, looks back up, and he's pointing a handgun at her.
Oh, boy.
She said she panicked and refused to empty the cash register at that point. That's what happened. So she then said, evidently the man's sick. He's got to be. He was crying when he walked in. Tears were running down his cheeks.
That's the guy you're telling no to?
That's the guy you're telling no. Holding a gun to you with tears streaming down his cheeks.
No.
As he gets his pain go bye-bye juice. This is not good.
That guy pulls a gun on you and you go, no.
Whatever. No, I'm not giving you anything. You go ching, you slam that register door closed, and you look at him and you go, see, I'm not doing anything for you. No, but
she has clearly never heard how people get murdered.
Well, to be fair to her, half her customers come in with tears running down their cheeks, I believe. So it doesn't matter. This is like crying, walking in a liquor store. It's 50-50 in this town,
she
probably.
She sees the tears as soft, whereas I see it as this man's at the end of his fucking rope.
He snapped at this point. But this happened between the car and the fucking front door.
Wow.
He broke down into a deal here. So
a heap.
She refuses to cooperate. He knocks her down. Okay, doesn't shoot her, but pushes her down, and he fucks up the cash register trying to open the cash register. He ends up like denting the metal and making it harder to open. So
you didn't hear about the no sale button?
He didn't hear. No, he just started hitting it with a gun, and he thought the drawer would open. Maybe if I hit it a bunch, it'll open.
Yeah. So
he then turned the gun to her and pulled the trigger, but it clicked. Just clicked. Didn't shoot her. No shot came out. So he got whatever cash was kind of under and lying around he could find. He just grabbed a bill here and there and took the fuck off. So he comes out of the liquor store with a bottle in one hand and a .25 caliber pistol in the other. That's what the brother-in-law sees coming. He's like, oh, awesome. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. So he pops in the car, tears still running down his face, and he goes, the police are going to be coming soon. So if you would, just drop me off over at Lambertson's Corner. It's about 1.5 miles away. And this guy was like, sure, no problem. Like,
whatever you got. Yeah.
He's seen this guy before. He knows that when there's tears streaming down his face and he's holding a bottle in one hand and a gun in the other, you don't refuse his fucking requests. You go along with what's happening.
He's not a liquor store clerk.
No, he has heard how murders happen. So he drops him off at this corner. Mm-hmm. Billy gets out with his gun and his bottle, and he runs off into the woods. Okay? That's it. Runs off into the woods. So Charles, feeling bad because he's not a scumbag, goes back to the liquor store to check on the clerk and make sure she's okay because he feels terrible.
Am I driving away from a body?
Yeah. He goes back, checks on the clerk. He also calls the police, and also she had already called the police, but he calls the police too. And because he says, by the way, the liquor store robbery that just happened, the guy you're looking for is Billy Bailey. That's his name. You all know him. I mean, come on, this guy, they have a picture of him in their wallets at this point. This is my firstborn. She's in college now, but this is back when we took her to Disney when she was 8. Cute kid, isn't she? She had to have that Cinderella dress. This is my son. He plays football at Michigan State now. No, he's really big. Oh, this is Billy Bailey. We arrest him every fucking 3 weeks or so.
Of Billy Bailey.
Yeah,
he's tears in his eyes.
He's terrifying, and I feel like he's the man who's going to eventually take me from my family. That's why I judge my family as well. He'll kill me. That's what's going to happen. So he pops up. It's in the woods. He pops out of the woods into a field, and he discovers 80-year-old Gilbert Lambertson.
Oh, no.
Gilbert is working out in his field at 80, okay? We think Bailey tried to get his car keys from him. So give me your car keys, old man. And the nearest neighbor who knows, he was running his tractor across the street, so he didn't hear any of this shit. He didn't hear anything. But he said, I'll tell you this. If that guy asked for Gilbert's car keys, more than likely he wouldn't give them up.
Gilbert's a tough man. I've earned everything. Yeah. Fuck you.
He's a tough 80-year-old farmer. He's not taking any shit from anybody. You know how hardened his skin could probably take the bullet and bounce off it. How much sun he's been in his whole life. It's leather by now.
Yeah.
Leather. So he's 80. He's married to Clara Lambertson, who's 73 years old. They've been married for 56 years, Jimmy.
What the fuck, man?
56 years. They farm mostly soybeans. They have a 67-acre farm. A lot of it's leased out. So at this point, they're farming some soybeans. They've pared down their operations. They have some gardens. They enjoy giving homemade jams and jellies as gifts.
Where do these people exist? Because they sound amazing.
No, wait, this is like a Norman Rockwell picture. That's where they exist, in a little farmhouse in a town where you're making jellies there, Mom? Yes, I am there, Pop. Like, what the fuck is happening?
Well, he's in a room of salted meats hanging from the ceiling.
Oh,
what a fucking great person.
A relative says they're kind people who never ask anything and never ask anyone for anything. They're quiet, retiring, and very self-sufficient. That's how they're described.
Retiring? When are they going to quit, for Christ's sake?
No, not. They're retiring like they're going to retire. They're just like kind of. They're
at the end of their life.
No. They don't like go out and party and fucking tear it up or anything. They're just some quiet, nice people there. Basically, that's what. Gilbert was raised in this farmhouse. He's 80 and grew up here. So
unbelievable.
Think about that. He said this farmhouse, he's always out in the garden. He's been farming all his life. His dad before him was farmed this his whole life too. So this is like a family heirloom, this house. So an insurance agent said they were, quote, hardworking, God-fearing, fine people. Yeah. This is the American Gothic picture, is what this is. Yeah. It's Gilbert and Clara Lambertson, basically.
God, Jesus.
He loved the Philadelphia Phillies, huge baseball fan.
Yeah.
And, quote, many times he'd let the cows wait to be milked while he listened to the game. What? Y'all can wait a minute, God damn it. Jesus, Mock Schmidt's up. Shut the fuck up.
Sorry, your nipples hurt.
Sorry. Tug McGraw's coming in to get the save. Shut the fuck up. So
stop you mooing.
They have 4 kids. Sons Saxton and Delbert, and daughters Mary and Betty.
It's beautiful.
This is the most idyllic thing in the world. Their son Delbert called them 2 quiet, very quiet, content people who never bothered a soul. The only place they ever went was down to the Acme in Dover to get groceries. They usually just stayed on the farm.
They just don't fuck the outside world. I'll do this myself.
Yep.
And I'm happy.
They don't need anything.
It.
They got a farm and their kids, and then they also said he wasn't even like, as a disciplinarian, he wasn't even like he wasn't violent or anything like that. They said that he would enforce his rules by just giving the kids a look, and they would know that you don't mess around with Gilbert. Or if his sons were having a fight, he would force his 2 sons to stare at each other until they resolved a dispute.
You stand here, you stand there.
Yep.
Cast your daggers.
Oh, my God. Daughter Betty said they were homebodies. They hated to leave the house. They never traveled, didn't even leave Delaware very often.
What?
They said, but they were also young at heart. They were fun people and nice people. Yeah. So what he does is Billy Bailey forces Gilbert Lambertson into the house from there. And from there, apparently these old people ain't giving him shit.
Good.
They're not giving him a fucking thing. They won't give up the car keys. And so what he does is Gilbert has a 12-gauge shotgun that he keeps by the door.
He does. Yeah.
Keeps by the front door. Well, Billy grabs that.
Oh, shit.
And Billy ends up shooting both of them now. He has them sitting in chairs. She's sitting in her rocking chair, and he is sitting in a different chair. And he shoots them both with both the pistol and the shotgun. It is a absolutely brutal scene. Clara is, Jesus Christ, Clara is shot in the neck and chest. He has half his head's missing.
Oh, my God.
He shot him in the face, close range, like the plastic from the fucking shell is.
Wadding?
Yeah, wadding is still in his head. Like it's
unbelievable, man.
Half his head is missing. Shot him right in the face from close range.
All you've done is robbed a liquor store, and you've got to up it to this. Like
this
you
is
went
next
from,
level.
10 years to fucking, you're never, it's murder for you.
Crazy. I mean, the scene is, imagine what that looks like.
I can't.
Close up 12-gauge wounds. It's horrible. The assistant state medical examiner said, first told these gunshot wounds here, there was one to Gilbert Lambertson's right hand, chest, and cheek, and then of the shotgun blast that fractured his skull and, quote, disrupted his brain because half of it wasn't there anymore. Numerous pellets and the plastic in which they were packed were found inside Gilbert's head.
Unbelievable.
She said any of the 3 shots could have been fatal. She's 80, too. You know what I mean? Right. Clara was first shot in the shoulder from behind, and then once in the abdomen, and then again in the neck. A sweet old lady who makes jams and jellies and gives them to you.
mother of 4 who has been on a farm her entire life.
Looks like Mrs. Claus, probably. This is ridiculous. They said she was shot twice with the shotgun, saying that either of those wounds could have been fatal. Her hand was ended up hit as well, and her chest, and they said that everybody said she would place her right hand like kind of over her heart if she got startled, and that's probably what she was doing. Yeah. The daughter said he shot her in the back, then shot her in the front when she turned around. The bullet went right through her hand. Fuck. They estimated that, they said also portions of the shell casings were found inside her body as well. They said that they were shot at a distance of closer than 10 feet because there was no satellite wounds from the pellets, so they were that tightly gathered that it was so close. Yeah. She was shot from a slightly greater range because the presence of satellite pellet injuries were a little bit more on her. So they both died almost immediately, though. They said this wasn't, there was no suffering at least, but this is fucking horrible. They said that some of the spent shells and cartridge casings found at the scene came from the 2 guns that were used in this, and they also found a bloody footprint that they believe belongs to the assailant later on, obviously. So half of his, like I said, just a brutal scene. Across the street is their Saxton, their son Saxton's wife, their daughter-in-law, Mary Ann.
They live across the street.
No, she's picking strawberries across the street, and she sees a man leaving the house. And she's like, what's up with that? So she goes over and walks into the house. She said he was a short white man, stocky, dressed in dark clothes, and carrying a shotgun, which is an odd sign. So, and she heard something in there. She didn't know if it was gunshots or whatever. So she came over, and she makes these discoveries. She walks in, and they're right in the living room there, and there's her.
She found her mother and father-in-law?
That's a terrible scene. She said it was fucking horrible. They're right in the living room when you walk in. She said that her husband came up and she said, quote, he asked me if they were dead, and I said no, but I knew they were dead because when I went in and called them, they didn't answer me. They were gone, but she didn't have the heart to tell him, apparently. So now they're looking for Billy. Okay. He runs into the woods.
Back into the woods.
Police at this point, because they call the police now too and say this happened. So now not only is there every cop they can muster from the county and the town and everything else on foot and their cars, they have helicopters looking for him as well now. Wow. Now he's Henry Hill. He's got fucking helicopters. You want to see helicopters? I'll show you helicopters. So Thomas W. Robbins, he's co-pilot of the state police helicopter. He spotted Billy from the air.
He found him.
Found Billy from the air. When they landed the chopper, Robbins jumps out with his revolver drawn and chases Bailey who's got a shotgun. So now he's chasing him. Bailey fell down in the field, and at that point, Robbins was able to put his foot on the shotgun, and he told him he had him at gunpoint. He's standing on the shotgun. He's got him at gunpoint. He tells him to stand up. As Bailey stood up, he pulled out a gun from his handgun from his waistband and turned around at point-blank range and fires at the trooper and misses him somehow. They're in enough combat to where this guy's hand is on the shotgun and one guy's foot is on the shotgun. That's how close they are to each other.
That officer is going to have a Vincent and Jules
That's a conversation about that. Yeah. Like, how the fuck? The only thing is he tried to do it as he's turning, so maybe he was. But I mean, this guy, that's wild. So
fired too early or too late, but either way, he missed.
He misses him. So this guy jumps on top of him, knocks the gun out of his hand. He doesn't even shoot. He could have shot him at that point. He doesn't even shoot him, knocks the gun out of his hand, and actually gets him cuffed. And Bailey wasn't even hurt. Everybody gets taken in without any injury in this regard anyway.
Changes his pants.
And Billy says, quote, "You boys got me for the store and nothing else." That's his quote there.
What else would we want you for, Bill? Tell me.
But nothing else. Nope, nothing. I don't know if people
Not that murder in the farmhouse.
Look, people get killed, all right? I don't kill all of them. That's crazy. Y'all are crazy. So he, it's fucking horrible, man. This is, as he's coming out, Mary Ann, the one who found the bodies, is there and sees him walking out of the woods and says, she said, quote, "I asked him why he killed those 2 innocent people, and he said he didn't."
Okay.
Meanwhile, she watched him come out with a shotgun.
I saw you leave the house, right.
So also a passing motorcyclist identified Bailey as the man he saw coming out of the house. The detective described him as, quote, wild and disoriented at the time of his arrest. And then another detective who knew him described that condition as, quote, normal for Billy Bailey. Wild and disoriented. He's just a wild. Wow. What do you do with this guy? So this is fucking terrible, man. So the son is it's horrible. It's fucking awful. Their grandson said one of them watched the other one get blown away. They were kind, old, feeble people. My grandfather kind of wobbled when he walked.
Aww.
That's who he decides to kill. This is fucking crazy. This sparks a big investigation of why the fuck this guy was allowed in a work release program to begin with. The governor's super pissed off. There's a lot of shit coming down. So he goes to court for the charges, which are, by the way, robbery in the first degree, possession of a deadly weapon by a person prohibited, 2 charges of possession of a deadly weapon during the commission of a felony, and 2 charges of first-degree murder. So
there's the big ones.
He's pretty fucked here. He, during most of the proceedings, he was shouting and yelling profanities. That's a quote. That's a quote from the justice of the peace who oversees his hearing here.
He's never good courtroom decorum.
No. He said, quote, the most remarkable was the statement, I suppose, that he said at the end of the proceeding. I believe he first made a remark about, quote, you're going to put me in jail anyway. I know there's no bail for this. I believe it was just about that time, right after the time I was reading the statute as far as the penalty for the charge was concerned. He then made the statement, quote, why don't you just go ahead and kill me, and why don't you just go ahead and hang me?
Because we can't.
He said, as I recall, he followed with either, quote, you know I did it, or you know I killed them. I'm not sure exactly what his exact words were at that point.
Oh, don't do that.
So, yeah, that's not good. That's fucking wild. So, that's his statements in court. He said, Then he said, quote, go ahead and hang me, you son of a bitch. I killed him. Go ahead and hang me. I'm going to make them kill me tomorrow. That's what he said as they're dragging him out.
I think we
can. Yeah, so that's fucking insane. He's nuts. And he also wrote that on things that he gave to his lawyer. So that's all there. Then he said, I want to be shot and hung right now. I demand to be shot and hung. Shoot me as I'm hanging. God damn it. Trial is pretty open and cut. Oh, it's open and shut. Open and cut. I just said open and shut. They got a gun guy in there.
Yeah.
They bring the kids in to say, fucking what the fuck here? This is terrible. He gets kicked out of the courtroom multiple times for acting a fucking fool here. It's an 8-man, 4-woman jury. They deliberate for just over 2.5 hours. Okay.
That is fast.
That's fast for all those charges and 2 murders.
Man.
That's the paperwork, basically.
Yeah. He said he killed him, right? He said it?
All right. Well, I mean, shit. They come back, not shockingly, guilty on all charges here, on everything. The prosecutor said during sentencing, by the way, death penalty on the table here.
Holy shit.
He said he deserves to own up and suffer for what he did. He deserves the death penalty. The defense attorney said, come on, be compassionate. They said he's been rejected by society. He's a product of institutions operated by this state. He's acting like it's suicidal tendencies institutionalized. I went to your schools. I went to your churches. I went to your... Anyway.
You did this to me.
Yeah. He said his lawyer urged the jury to exercise pity, not vengeance, and understanding, not retribution. And as the prosecutor then, after she says, this poor man, she sits down, the lawyer. Prosecutor stands up to do his final rebuttal at the end. And Billy, who, by the way, the whole time had just been staring at the ceiling, which is a real normal court thing.
Counting ceiling tiles.
Then he bursts out with obscenities, telling the judge he's a fucking asshole and fuck you and fuck this jury and suck my cock and all this shit. And they have to drag him out of the courtroom. So he is kept out of the courtroom while his sentence is read, and it is, you, sir, may fuck off, death penalty.
Oh, boy.
Quote, you'll be hanged by the neck until dead. So that's what he's
Is that
got.
what they're going to do?
Must be hanged by the neck until dead. That is the statute at this point. So he also sentences him to a total of 97 years in addition to that in robbery and weapons charges. A psychiatrist for the state described him as, quote, having a death wish and showing no emotion when he found out about the jury. The woman said, I think he prepared himself for it. I would say. He's acting like a nutcase. I mean, Jesus.
He knew when they put him in the car.
Oh, yeah. He kill me now. He ends up wanting a new trial. He gets a lawyer. There's this article in the newspaper about his lawyer, and they just try to make his lawyer sound like he's a cowboy. They're like, he's a pilot. He plays pool. He's got nerves of steel. Like, it's just, stop sucking this guy's cock.
Who cares?
Yeah, it's not going to work. So he said that this is his attorney's view of Billy, quote, he seemed like a very angry man. He seemed like a very explosive individual. I asked the guard to stay in the room with me until I could see his demeanor. That's why.
His lawyer said that.
His lawyer said that. That's why. I would say so. And now the public defender that he had at first, she ends up getting on board to his appeal, saying, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, basically.
So she's going to admit of incompetence?
Yeah, she's going to go like, I tried, but I didn't know what I was doing really yet. They kind of put me in a bad position. So now the prosecutor argues that, no, you did a great job.
I loved it.
It's super weird. Yeah. So he's fine. This is all great. By the way, everybody always says like lawyers, and they're talking about lawyer fees and everything like that. When lawyers private lawyers do like not pro bono, but for the state work, like public defender work. So that happens all the time, and they get like a very discounted fee. Like this guy makes about $200 an hour, and state assigned cases he makes about $50 an hour. So
wow,
yeah, that's how this works.
75% less.
Yeah, that's how this works. So this goes all the way to the Supreme Court in 1983 here, and they say, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
No.
You can't turn this one into mental health either, because he was given every fucking chance. There at the end, you know what I mean? You shouldn't have even been out.
Yeah, he was on work release. He couldn't handle that. He couldn't handle going back for a day after 72 hours. So
right.
In 1986, Delaware changes its method of execution to lethal injection. Okay. Now, this was a legislative effort. They did all of this. But anyone who's already facing the death penalty can choose whether they want the new one or they can have their old, death by hanging. The
obsolete shit.
Yeah, even one of the prosecutors said, I have always felt death by hanging was a barbaric, violent method of execution. We create needless victims, the parents to children, by having such a brutal form of execution. So 1996 this goes to, and he's set to be executed January 25th, 1996. So his wife stuck around till 1989 before she divorced him.
Unbelievable.
When he was in prison for murder on death row for 10 years, and she was like, this could work out. That's an understanding woman. So he is interviewed the early January 1996, and they're talking to him about, well, how are you going to be executed? And he said, quote, I was sentenced to hang. If I'm executed, I should hang according to the paperwork. I didn't choose. He said, I didn't choose hanging. The state chose it for me. Asking a man to choose how to die is more barbaric than hanging. Wow. That is kind of like saying dig your own grave. That is kind of like if we talk about murderers all the time, if one of them said, if we said he took this person into the woods and said, how do you want me to kill you? We'd go, that's fucked up. That's super cruel. You want me to shoot you or cut your throat? We'd be like, oh my God, what a fucking asshole. So it is creepy, I will say. But at the same time, I mean, it's, I guess, choice. I don't know. So
he did earn it. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. So they talk about that. And Billy says 45 years in jail is the last thing I can remember about that day. I don't know how I got from Cheswold, from the Plumber Center in Wilmington. I was drinking and popping pills all day. I didn't know what I was doing, and I don't remember any of it. So now he says he doesn't even remember that day.
Okay.
He says, I'm not sure if I done it, but I feel bad for it. I can't say if I did it, but I can't say if I didn't either.
Oh, boy.
Well, they can say whether they're going to kill you or not, because that's what's going to happen. His last plea for clemency, they talk about his background turned him into a, quote, wellspring of sadness, depression, rejection, and anger that, when tapped, resulted in a complete loss of the self-control that society expects from its members. that. So they said, you should help. Come on, is basically what they're saying. So the parole board, with the whole clemency thing here, they dismiss favorable reports from prison personnel and recommended against commuting the sentence, saying that Bailey has not made a significant effort at rehabilitation in prison. He has repaired clothing and made furniture and stayed sober, but he said, quote, I haven't joined any organizations. I figured I'd leave those to the guys who know they'll get out someday. So he's like, I'm in here anyway. What the fuck do I care? The Lambertson family opposes his commutation. They want the death penalty as well. He wrote a letter to the family, to the Lambertson family.
What does this say?
And they said the letter, we don't have the exact letter. They didn't release that. But he said, quote, they said that Bailey's such an angry person, a mean person. He shouldn't be in society. I don't think he should live. This is one of the kids. Because I don't think he should live because there's always a chance someone will let him out. I wouldn't want any family to go through what we have. Bailey writes the letter, and he said, I just put down what I felt. I can't spell too good, and the other offered to write it for me, but I just did it my own way. Imagine getting that fucking letter.
From an angry man.
From an angry man.
Said some horrible shit.
And wrote it in his own poop. You're like, This is... Jesus
You hold it
Christ.
up to a lot. There's a secret message that I wrote in urine.
Jesus fucking Christ, man. He said that, quote, kept pushing at me, telling me, this is what he's saying about the cops, telling me, you did it. It makes me hurt inside. I can't remember killing them, but I feel it's my fault. So I'm taking the blame. People like me do have feelings, as he was crying during the interview. He said, sometimes I get so uptight inside, I just want to bust out crying.
That's anxiety and depression, man.
That's what that is. He's got
Jesus.
that. Now, January 25th, 1996, Execution Day.
Wow.
Last meal comes around. Jimmie, last meal.
Oh, what'd he do?
Well done steak. So right there, that's ruined it.
Good riddance, motherfucker.
Yeah, bye. Well done steak, a baked potato with sour cream and butter, buttered rolls, peas, and vanilla ice cream.
Okay. What I do want to know is what cut of meat he chose, because if he got just some skirt steak, who gives
it's a chuck. It's just some chuck that you're supposed to do other shit with, or
some
like
thin shit.
Either that, something like that. It wasn't good. I don't think they were like, no, give that ribeye. It's not marbled. Give him the one in the back. Yeah, the marbled one. That'll be better.
And that Wagyu one. That one will be.
No, they had
really trade them.
Delaware has not carried out a hanging for 50 years. So they had to get advice from the Walla Walla State Penitentiary in Washington. You got any help here? So they built the gallows in 1986 here, when his first execution date was coming up before it got delayed. So they had to renovate it and strengthen it before they could do that. The platform housing and the trapdoors 15 feet from the ground. There's 23 steps up to it. They used 30 feet. This is the protocol. 30 feet of 3 3/4 inch diameter Manila hemp rope, boiled to take out stretch and any tendency to coil.
Oh my God!
The area of the rope sliding inside the knot was lubricated with melted paraffin wax to allow it to slide freely. So a black hood is specified by the protocol, and is a sandbag to test the trapdoor, and a collapse board to which the prisoner can be strapped if necessary, if he's trying to fight.
Holy shit.
So he's moved from his prison cell to the gallows here. They take him in. He talks with his sister and a chaplain and eats his food and does all that shit. They take his glasses off, obviously. He comes in. He's got he's flanked by two guards wearing black jumpsuits and black hoods held in place by baseball caps, escorted Billy up the steps. The warden, who's standing farther off to the right, didn't hear. He said, "Do you have any last words?" And Billy said something, and he was too far away because that's where the lever is, so the warden didn't hear him. So the warden, he said, "Do you have any last words?" And Billy said, and he said, "Pardon?" I swear to God, the fucking guy was asking him if I didn't hear you, and he said, "Pardon?" And Billy went, "Huh? No, sir. Like, did you just say I'm pardoned, or are you asking me if saying you didn't hear me?" Yeah. And he said, "No, sir." And they were like, "Oh, okay." That's the most confusing. That's like a fucking Monty Python joke when someone's out there. Pardon? Oh, very good then. No, I didn't mean that, Pod.
Great, I'm going back to my cell. No, we're going to kill you.
I
didn't hear what
off.
you said.
Great.
Well, God damn it.
So they hold him there for about 5 minutes. What they do is, too, there's a guy who... anyway, they put him up to the trap door there. There's a nylon webbing strap that's placed around his ankles and a black hood pulled down over his head and upper chest. The noose is placed over his head. Several times they felt the hood to be certain the knot was correctly positioned behind the left ear, which is where that's the best position to snap the neck, apparently. They said he was pretty calm. This is the only time he hasn't freaked out and gone nuts here. They pulled the lever with both hands. Trap door came. Based on his size, I think it's a 5-foot drop is what they decided was the best thing there. There's a Patreon episode about how they calculate all of that, basically. And, that was it. He spun around counterclockwise 6 times, then rotated once in the opposite direction. And, they pulled a canvas tarp down to conceal the body. And that was that. You could just see his feet dangling below it, which is pretty fucking morbid.
6 spins. Oh my God.
Pretty morbid. It's pretty fucking weird, man. The whole thing's pretty creepy. The family's happy though. They said, Saxton Lambert said his parents were very innocent people. They were old and small, and he was a big brute. He chose to shoot them, so he chose to die. And they said just because he wanted their truck, he killed my grandparents. Without a doubt, he should die. That's the grandfather as well, too. So that's it. He was the last man hanged in the United States, by the way.
Is that right?
Still to this day. Last man hanging, he is. So there you go, everybody. Delaware is tiny, and we don't know shit about it, but it's fucking weird, and weird shit happens there.
1996, they strung somebody up.
Wow, so there you go, everybody. If that sounds good, please throw a review up on whatever platform you're listening on. 5 stars is helpful. Patreon.com/Crime and Sports, where you get the bonus stuff. This week, Sex Scandals Part 2 and the Weird Zodiac Killer documentary and current crop of whatever the fuck, suspects, however you want to call it. And shutupandgivememurder.com is where you get the tickets, live shows, Pabst Theater in Milwaukee, September 10th, Tampa Improv, September 23rd, 2 shows that night. Next night in Orlando, the 24th, 2 shows at the Orlando Improv. Shutupandgivememurder.com is where you get that. Follow the show at Murder Small on Twitter, at SmallTownPod on Facebook, at Smalltown Murder on Insta, or at Smalltown Murder on Instagram. That's what it is.
Yeah.
There you go. That said, holy shit, thanks a lot. Enjoy your fucking weeks and everything else, and don't kill anybody. Don't get hanged. Let's all be nice. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. It's been our pleasure. If you like Small Town Murder, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
Have you ever gotten a message out of the blue? Maybe you ignore them. Or maybe you end up in conversation. Maybe they tell you about an amazing offer.
I can really show you how to make some money.
And maybe that gets you into a lot of trouble. But this isn't a story about people like you, the people receiving these messages. This is a story about the people behind the messages, on the other end of the line. Thousands of them, working in a microcity built for scammers. From Wondery, the makers of Dr. Death and Kill List, comes Scam Factory, a new series about survival at the expense of others. Follow Scam Factory on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Scam Factory early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.